Okay.
Talk it up, talk it up, talk it up.
What's up, people? How we doing? 19 people watching the stream. Already 17 likes. You guys are monsters. Say what's up in the chat if you're here to mock, if you're here to watch, whatever the case may be. Say what's up. It's good to have you guys here. Thanks for joining us tonight. I can't lie. How is this person getting into the draft? I don't know if you noticed that. Anyway.
Oh, I was like, are you like?
I sent so someone sent us a message and then asking to join, but then I don't know how this other person keeps getting in. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome.
If you don't know, kick him out.
I don't know how to.
Right click on that bitch.
I don't know how to. Anyway, how's everyone's day going? I had an interesting morning. Like we do live in Sydney, Australia, just so you know.
Yeah.
So I woke up, it is right now 12:07 p.m., right? So it's just after midday. I had an interesting morning. We live in an apartment. I don't know if you guys live in an apartment, but there's like this really strange alarm system. Like if there's an emergency, it just says emergency, emergency, and then it just screams in your ear like as loud as possible. So that happened at 6 a.m. That was pretty cool. And typically I just sleep through it because I'm like, honestly, I would rather die if it's an emergency. If it's really a problem, I just kill me instead of me having to get up. And
he actually wouldn't though. He actually wouldn't though.
Well, look, when we lived in LA, that happened like twice a week, and we were like, we're not gonna die, we're fine. So we just stayed. Anyway, it just kept happening this time, and finally decide, like the second time it comes around, to go down the stairs. We're on the 10th floor. I get all the way down to the 5th floor, and the siren stops. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So it was a rough morning for me, but what can you do?
We're here.
No,
We're here
Chris,
now.
I see you in the
Okay.
chat. I see you in the chat, Chris. I just don't know who Famous Amos is. I don't know how Famous Amos keeps getting in the mocks.
Has he always been getting in the mocks?
Well, he did that last time. I just didn't know who it was.
Oh, I thought that was somebody that you sent it out to.
No, I don't know who Famous Amos is. What's up, Juxter, in the chat? Thanks, guys, for saying hey. What's up, Saxter? Quote, what's up? Shane says, what's up, fellas? Just started watching your guys' videos recently, and I'm hooked. I love that,
Thanks,
Shane.
brother. Appreciate it.
Be prepared
Glad
for
to hear.
some opinions that you don't agree with, some that you do agree with, hopefully some good insight. What's up, Chris? Shane says, I just joined the Discord. What channel do you guys drop mock links in? I'd love to hop into a mock. Okay, Shane, so first off, welcome to the Discord. Secondly, Badaki, why don't you go ahead and just send a message in that chat and say, hey, everyone, this is where the link will be dropped. Now, to join the Discord, there's a link that we pinned in the chat, and you can join our Discord through that link that we pinned from our account. And now Badaki is going to send a message in the chat where it will come, where that link will come. Saxter says, thought it was World War III. Crazy times, man. It's crazy. I don't even know what to say on that situation. It just seems so. I don't know. We don't want to talk about politics. It just seems so unnecessary. It's just so frustrating that's happening right now in 2022, What's up, Casey Brown? Time to mock. Don. What's up, Don? I love that.
Brother?
Don is such a cool name.
What's happening, people?
Thanks for joining us, guys.
We're on the Don.
There's a like goal today, 75 likes. That might be ambitious, but maybe together we can get there. If we hit 75 likes, then right now the poll says that Badaki has to let his wife, future wifey, draft for him in a league. So
100%.
That will be interesting if we hit that. And that will obviously be recorded as well.
That's funny because she's Australian. She knows nothing about football.
Yeah.
She'll probably just draft Saquon Barkley because she knows how.
Yeah, she'll probably draft Saquon Barkley, Eli Manning if he's still in the ADP.
Yeah, probably.
What's up, Chris? Just joined. Is today SuperFlex or one quarterback? SuperFlex. Now, today is a rookie-only mock, just so everyone's aware. Wonder if it says that over there on Twitch as well. Yes, it does. Okay. So today is a rookie-only mock. There will be 4 rounds. We're going to discuss these rookies, where they will go. And, at points we will pause the draft just to discuss the picks that have happened. So be aware. If you're going to mock with us today or whatever the case may be, just be aware that we will pause at certain points to discuss picks.
That's right.
But what's up, Josh? Welcome, bro. Hey, Josh, we sent you a message over there on Patreon, man. Thank you so much for signing up to our Close Friends
thanks,
Plus.
man. Yeah. That's awesome.
That means a lot, bro. I really, really appreciate that. We sent you a message over there with your Close Friends Plus tier.
Mhm.
You get the
Mhm.
fancy hotline. So check that out over there on Patreon. We'll try and set you up so you got a direct line to us.
And
And
also Adam Walker, if you're if you are in here watching,
yes,
you haven't commented yet, your invitation to the league has already been sent. If you can join that, then we can get it kickstarted with all the information
yep,
and all of the, I guess, pre-draft process that we need to do so we can get draft dates and, draft positions
yeah,
and everything set up for this league
mm-hmm.
for this year. So Adam Walker, if you watch this later or are in here now,
Yeah. Check
check your
Discord.
Discord.
And just if anyone is interested in being a part of our Patreon family or joining a Dynasty League with us, we put on Dynasty Leagues over on Patreon. The link is in the chat. If you're watching this later, it's in the description. You can find our Patreon there. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy started. Let's do what we came here to do. Kaz says I'm doing everything to get voters for that, Badaki. I love it. All right, so Badaki's gonna send the link to join this mock. What's up, Gator? Josh says just join Patreon. How's the second league looking? Second league is looking good, my guy. Yeah, we've officially opened up the second league, so anyone's free to sign up for that. But Josh, you are on the Close Friends Plus tier, just so you're aware. Check that message on Patreon. If you're looking to join a league, we'll tell you what that can look like. What's up, TNT? We are doing well, my guy. I hope you're doing well, too. What's up, Gator? All right, so, Badaki, if people want to join this mock, what's that going to look like? One last time, right before we send the link.
Super simple, super easy. Go join our Discord. Go to the Dynasty Damn It tab, and there's a Dynasty mock draft, I guess, multi-tab that's in there as well, where I have already tagged everyone saying this is where the link is going to drop. And then, go there. Super simple, super easy. It's first come, first serve. If you haven't joined a mock draft before and you don't get into this one, send us a message. Send a message on to Fantasyland Football chat, and then Zach and I will on Discord, and Zach and I will get you in the next.
Yeah.
Whether it's rookie mock draft or SuperFlex Dynasty startup.
Now, to be clear, we can only really do that like once, right? Because we want to make sure everyone gets a chance, but you can't. If you've been in these mocks a bunch of times, you can't just message us and be like, can I get in? Can I get in? But the reason we do that is because we want everyone to get a chance, to be a part of these mocks. So, but Aki, ready to send that link?
Yeah, I'll send that link here now. I'll put the link here and then everyone, make sure you guys go there now because once again, first come, first serve. So try to get there as soon as possible. Make sure you got that tab open on your phone, on your computer. 5, 4, 3.
Here it comes.
I pause for a little bit because I know it's delayed. 2, 1.
Wow.
There it is.
All right, the link has been sent, ladies and gents. First come, first serve. This will fill up pretty quickly. What's up, Patrick? Patrick Andrews, what's going on, my guy? Welcome, my guy. I say my guy way too much. Hey, my guy. Patrick, I don't remember your name in particular on the stream, so welcome. I don't know if it's your first time. If it's not your first time, I'm sorry. I'm not the best with memories. Memories in general, I guess. But bro, thanks for joining us. Hey guys, 37 people watching. It's an honor that you would spend your time hanging out with us. You can see that there's a poll in the chat right now, okay? If we hit our like goal of 75 likes, Badaki has to do whatever the people vote for, and right now they're voting for letting his wife draft for him in a league.
Come on, baby.
Which would be really, really funny. So drop a like if you want to see that happen. And the other thing I was going to say is, we will be live streaming the drafts of our follower leagues, okay? So
100%.
It's going to be fun to live stream that, have the people who did join Patreon leagues to be in the chat while we're all drafting together. And once we get everyone in, we'll also get draft positions so you guys can start doing draft trades. So
as soon as possible, yeah. That's also really fun, man. That happened in our leagues last year, and it was going crazy like the first day.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
Aaron says, this is my first time watching the live stream. I normally watch when it's uploaded. Aaron, brother, thanks so much for joining us on the live stream. Aaron's part of that Dynasty League that we're gonna live stream here soon. What's up, Jeff? Juxer says, hit that like button to see Mrs. Badaki draft. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, we have to say before we say anything else, let's all get on the same page before we start this, okay?
Okay. I'm listening. Talk to me.
But Aki, my opinion is going to be different to yours.
No, it's wrong actually.
Our opinions are going to be different. You're watching this. I'm going to say some things that you agree with. I'm going to say some things that you disagree with. The same can be said for Badaki here, right? So this is a space where differing opinions are completely welcome. And I'll say this, I can't remember a rookie draft where there has been more room for difference of opinions than this one. There is no
100%.
Jamar Chase in this draft, right? So wherever you want to take people, you can justify it. Now, that being said, we will pause this draft at certain times to give our opinion. It might not be the right opinion. You might not agree with it, but I just want to clarify before we start so we're all on the same page. Right, Badaki?
Yeah. It's all good. It's all love anyway. It's a constructive feedback or just hearing different people's opinions, and that's okay. Because we all have different opinions on fantasy players and just fantasy in general. So yeah, it's exciting.
All right, let's get this started. This is SuperFlex PPR format, rookies only. The combine is this week. We don't know where these guys are landing just yet, so we're using as much knowledge as we can. And let's go ahead and start this. There's 2 minutes on the clock. You can use as much time as you want. We will pause it at certain times to discuss picks.
If a guy just goes crazy in the combine, maybe his I was gonna say if the guy goes really crazy in the combine, maybe his where he gets drafted in a rookie mock draft will change. But I don't know if that's actually true. I think people will still wait on the draft.
I think it could change for sure.
Draft spot.
Who is it? George Pickens in particular. Like we said on that video we released last week about the combine, if he goes out and kills all these drills, and he puts up a DK Metcalf type combine, we could see him going as high as the 1-3. You know what I mean? So it's possible.
Could definitely happen. So
all right, Breece Hall at the 1-1. You know what's weird about Breece is the dynasty and fantasy community is on the same page. Breece, well, for most people, Breece is the first running back. He might not be the 101 for you, but he's the first running back. But I've noticed that CBS and Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, all these mainstream guys are all aboard the Isaiah Spiller train as their RB1. So it's interesting that disconnect between the dynasty community and mainstream media. Which is interesting. I'm here. I personally think at this point, it might change, but at this point for me, the 101 is Treylon Burks. I do think he's the most, there's a wide receiver I like better than him, but I think I could get him much later. So at this point, I do think Treylon Burks is the best player on the board. So I'm happy to take him. But by the way, with Breece Hall going at the 1-1, it is really hard to find workhorse running backs. So you can definitely justify making that pick. Okay. I like Treylon Burks. Some have compared him to Debo. The more I watch him, to be honest, the more I see AJ Brown. That's the kind of player I'm expecting him to be. So I'm going to go ahead and take Treylon Burks here at the 1.2. Yep.
That's fair. It seems normal. I feel like this is what's going to happen. I mean, these guys' landing spots are going to change. Yeah, where these guys get drafted tremendously. If Treylon Burks doesn't go to a quarterback friendly team, then maybe he doesn't go at the 102.
Yeah, what happens if he falls
depending on how?
Yeah,
depending on where he goes. Yeah, exactly. I think we will look at these guys very differently here very soon.
Let's say he goes to Cleveland and then Garrett Wilson or London goes to Kansas City or something. It's going to be interesting. Malik Willis at the 1-3. I think we both agree he has the highest upside of any quarterback.
100%.
What he can do 100%. On the ground, in the air. I like that pick there. It makes a lot of sense, especially in a SuperFlex league. Just trying to catch up with the chat.
Let's see here.
Juxter says someone's got the itch to draft. Aaron says, love me some Pickens. I love him too, brother. Joe, what's up, Joe? 100%. Jerome Ford's 40-yard dash and combine will make him a day 2 guy. I love that Joe is on board with Jerome Ford. We're big Jerome Ford guys.
I'm hoping he goes in the first, but I doubt it.
No way.
I know he's not going to go in the first. That's just wishful thinking. But we love Jerome Ford. He is really high in our rankings. If you guys don't know, our Dynasty rankings are out already on Patreon if you want to be part of that as well. That's also on patreon.com/fantasylandfam. Jerome Ford is my running back 2. So I'm really high on him. I know Zach, I think, has him in his top 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
Jerome Ford's my RB4. Let's talk about Kenneth Walker off the board here at the 1-4.
Mhm.
You know, the more I think about this, the more I'm okay with him being at the 1-4. You know, there might be a wide receiver on the board, a couple wide receivers that I think there might be a tier in the gap of the talent, but you have to keep in mind it is really, really hard to find a workhorse running back. And I personally do think that Kenneth Walker will be, you know, around the Breece Halls in the NFL draft. I mean, he could go as a first running back. So taking him at the 1-4, I think he has the traits to be like a Nick Chubb in the NFL. So I'm okay with it. And then Garrett Wilson at the 1-5. Badaki, you love Garrett Wilson. Why don't you talk about that for a sec?
Yeah, I think this guy can go into any offense, and he could be the wide receiver one, a workhorse, a slot receiver. He can be utilized in any single way. Garrett Wilson is my favorite and my number 1 wide receiver in this draft. In my opinion, he's explosive, creates space, and the football IQ is absolutely crazy, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense. So I like Garrett Wilson here at the 1-5.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the clock. And
By the way, just quickly, Shane just
Uh-huh.
said none of these running backs will be a Chubb. Look, we're just trying to give you examples of players, an example of comps that players could be. We're not saying that any of these guys, like, no one could be relevant here. That's the reality. Like, literally, no one could end up being fantasy relevant. But we do try and comp them to people that we think they could be. And I think Kenneth Walker does have that in him as a pure runner. But agree to disagree. Badaki at the 1-6, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I'm here at the 1-6. Look, we're not right. And I'm going to do this because I want to see how it feels to take this person. And I think he will usually go here at the 1-6, potentially even higher. And that's Drake London.
Okay.
He is a guy that is technically not in my top 5 wide receivers
Right.
in this rookie draft, but he is a guy that the fantasy community loves. Our channel, Zach and I, aren't as high as him because we would prefer a different style of wide receiver.
Right.
Drake London, 6'5", 200 and something pounds. He can go up and contest the catch, where I think we would like a guy that's going to get more of the slot work, more of the PPR opportunity, in my opinion, where maybe
Great
potentially
separation,
Drake London
has a speed.
Yeah, maybe Drake London. I mean, he can definitely has some attributes, and he can do all that. But
Yeah.
for us, we would rather have that, smaller wide receiver that
For
can
sure.
be that workhorse.
All right, Isaiah Spiller at the 1-7. You and I are not high on Spiller, and everyone's kept asking why. There's a video on our page now that you can watch, and we tried to explain to our very best as to why we don't think that he is going to be a workhorse running back. But watch that later. And again, like at the 1-7, you can absolutely justify that if you believe that he can be that, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Timothy is saying, I agree. I don't think the running backs are special. I can definitely see where you guys are coming from. Shane says Nick Chubb is a good comparison for K. Walker. His pass catching concerns me. Yep, never really showed that he was a pass catcher, so I get where you're coming from there. Poor man's Chubb, half Chubb. Casey Brown said half Chubb.
Half
I love
Chubb.
that. That's funny.
Bro, that's so funny. I think I laughed at Saxer because Karen Harris is a Walmart Nick Chubb, and I think that's absolutely hilarious. I can kind of see that.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett off the board here at the 1-8.
SuperFlex league, it makes sense. I think
makes sense.
There's still a certain player that I would take a shot on over the other quarterbacks, but I'm hoping maybe he falls to me here at the 2-2. If you guys have watched these streams for a while, you know who it is. But Kenny Pickett, maybe the most pro-ready quarterback. We'll see where he goes. No one really knows. Yeah. And then George Pickens at the 1-9. This is getting interesting now. We were seeing George Pickens around the 2-5 about a month ago. Now we're seeing him at the 1-9. People are starting to see, what we see. We're starting to see something really special
100%.
about Pickens.
100%. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. I feel like a lot of people that the fantasy community aren't high on. Well, I guess we'll talk about him once he gets drafted. Actually, let's just wait about that. And I'm surprised because I actually really like this wide receiver. Goes Jameson Williams there.
All right, let's talk about these. We'll wait for Cass to go, but love Pickens at the 1-9. I do think he's probably I have the 202 in one of my leagues, and I was hoping that Pickens would fall there, but at this point, I'm pretty confident that there's no way he's going to get out of the first round. Jameson Williams at the 110. I love Jameson Williams, my favorite wide receiver in this draft. And personally, I'm not afraid to draft him because he's going to miss the first couple months. I'm looking at the long term, his long term future. And I think at the 110, he's going to be a massive steal for people late at the late first. I don't think there's anyone in this draft who can do what he can do. Kyron Williams at the 111, and then Chris Olave. So let's talk about those two picks. How do you feel about it?
And that was the one that I wanted to talk about. Let's go Chris Olave first. This is a guy that I like a lot in my personal opinion. Another guy that could be a workhorse. He's technically my wide receiver 2 in this draft.
He's my 3, so I'm with you.
Yeah, so like I think he could be a guy that can come in and produce. His route running is nasty. He's explosive. He has a crazy route tree. Why not give him the opportunity? And I feel like the fantasy community is letting him fall to the second.
Yeah.
I would be okay taking him. Actually, once again, it all depends on where his landing spot is. But
yeah,
if George Pickens is not on the board, I'll probably take a chance right after George Pickens.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird feeling on Chris Olave.
All right, so Kyron Williams at the 111. I love Kyron. He's my running back 3. Again, the big worry with Kyron is we all comp him to Austin Eckler. He's probably not going to be Austin Eckler. Like, let's be realistic here. He's probably not going to be that, but maybe he's like one of the most elite third down running backs in the NFL. And the NFL constantly is changing to suit those types of players. So it's a risk pick, but I really like him. I like what he was able to do at Notre Dame for multiple years. And he was able to do multiple things for them despite his size. And has elite speed for a running back. And I just wanted to address Shane's comment. He said, bruh, there are three quarterbacks drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. They should all be taken before the 109. To be honest, Shane, I don't know that we don't even know if there will be a quarterback in the first round this year. Do you know what I mean? So I get where you're coming from, but it's a little bit unknown at this point. Like, will Howell be a first round pick? Will Corral? Will these guys be first? It's hard to say. Maybe we'll get more clarity after.
Yeah, and I think people are just going based off talent and what they think they can do on the fields. Where like I feel quarterbacks I think their landing spot is a lot more compared to these wide receivers and running. I mean, it all I feel like is very equivalent, but quarterbacks I think is the highest importance when it comes down to landing spots.
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, 43 people watching the stream. Shout out to you guys. It's an honor that you would spend your time with us. Just 2 guys who think they know something and drafting for rookies. Drop a like if you haven't. That would mean a lot. Sub if you want more of this content. All right, we're going into the second round here. Let's see who goes off the board. And we'll try and keep up with the chat as much as we can as well.
Yeah. A lot of people is having their own conversations, which is awesome as well.
Yeah, so I love that. Hey, and okay, so Matt Corral goes off the board at the 2-1. SuperFlex League. I mean, it makes sense, right? If Corral's a guy that you believe in.
No doubt about it.
Just wanted to say, and this is not an ad, but if anyone out there has a chance to eat Chick-fil-A, because we're in Sydney, Australia, they don't have Chick-fil-A here. Okay, but if you have a chance, spend your day right. Go get Chick-fil-A today. This is not an ad. I just wanted to make your day better. You know what I mean? So, all right. So I'm here at the 2-2, and it's interesting because I have this pick in one of my drafts, and a lot of people are going to tell me to go Sam Howell, but there are other players that I like more than Sam Howell. There are other positional players that I like more than Sam Howell.
Take here.
So there are a couple wide receivers that I really, really like here. And I'll just be honest. I'll just have the conversation. To be honest, it's between David Bell and Jahan Dotson for me at this point. I'm looking at both of these guys as players that I would draft right before Howell. You could see it differently, and that's completely okay. But these are 2 guys that I really love. I think that the mainstream media, and I think GMs are probably higher on Jahan Dotson than a lot of us realize. Between these 2, if I had to choose one that I would bet on being a first-round pick, I think it would be Jahan Dotson. And I think he could land at the end of the first. I really like him as a player. I think if he falls to a team like the Bills or the Chiefs or one of these teams late, he could be like an elite weapon. I like his skill set. Has some amazing catches for the size. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him here at the 2-2. And you can make a case for a quarterback there. I get it.
Yeah, I like Jahan Dotson. I think you said Jahan Dotson or David Bell. I think there's no wrong answer. One could be David Bell. We copped into an Allen Robinson, and then I know Jahan Dotson. I think you said Deontay Johnson, and I said
Similar,
around.
yeah.
I said something like Amon Ra. I think he can get a workload. I like Amon Ra, and
I think I said
I'm not
Deontay and Tyler Lockett was
Okay.
my comp there between them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and then goes
okay, that's
Desmond
interesting.
Ritter. Look, this is another thing that mainstream media is a lot higher on, and that is Desmond Ritter. They have him in their top
Yeah.
3, I feel, and they love him. He, Zach always says he puts up video game numbers. He put up video game numbers in college, and it was crazy. But he still has a lot to work on, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, man. I've tried to go back to Ritter's film multiple times and change my opinion because I'm not high on him. I actually have strong higher than him in the scouting process, but I just don't think he's accurate. Like, I don't think he's an accurate quarterback, and he didn't play any competition. When he did, he didn't really shine at all. I mean, if you have someone who's playing in a weak conference, you want them to shine, when it counts the most. So look, I can see how it can be successful. He ran the RPO so well in college. Can that translate to the NFL? I don't know, but I definitely think I would take Sam Howell over Ritter. But again, this is just our opinion. Doesn't mean that it's right or that it's wrong. And then Sam Howell goes off the board here at the 2-5.
And then he goes on the board. That's the guy who I was going to take. Jeremy Clark said PFF loves Ritter. I need to go watch PFF. I need to go watch PFF and actually see why they like him. And I think it's because of the RPO option. He's a guy that can come in and be kind of that hybrid, and that's where the NFL is leading to.
I just don't think the speed is like going to be a part of his game. It's like Corral for me. I don't feel like the speed is anywhere near where it needs to be for that to be like a massive part of his game in the NFL. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but they actually 100%. PFF has Howell as their quarterback 1, then Malik, then Ritter. So they have Ritter over Corral and Pickett. They actually have Pickett as their quarterback 5.
Yeah, they have Pickett as their
PFF's always interesting the way they approach things.
Yeah. I feel like, I could be wrong. I've been watching them lately, but I've been watching them purely because of like defensive and offensive perspectives, because I feel like they love those like bigger guys, dudes in the trenches.
Right.
And it's interesting how they like see them. Anyways, I'm on the clock here. Ritter, Howell goes off the board. I was going to take Howell if he did fall to me, which makes my decision a lot easier. I'm a guy that we talked about earlier in the stream. That's Jerome Ford. If my running back 2 in my rankings is still going to be available at the 2-6, I'm always going to be taking him, period. Okay.
Totally. Let me just say quickly, like with the running backs, draft capital matters more than any other position. Maybe quarterback, you can make the case, but do you know what I mean? Like historically, 4th, 5th round running backs don't get opportunities. So you can talk about Mitchell, but that's the outlier. So I think if Ford ends up going in the 2nd, 3rd round, we'll see him higher than 100%. This. If people see what we see.
I agree. So I'll take Drake London, Jerome Ford here. 2, I guess, really high upside guys, in my opinion. No matter what, I feel like Jerome Ford is going to get some sort of work.
Get the get. Hey. P. Diddy Papa Diffie Puff. Shout out to you, my GA. Thanks so much for the sub, man. That means a lot.
Papa Diddy Puff.
I like the creativity in the name as well. All right, so Watson at the 2-7. Let's discuss this for a second. I think we're getting a little too high on Watson, guys. Badaki, I think you're going to disagree with me here because I think you have him higher, but there are still 2 wide receivers on the board and maybe other positional players that I would take over Watson. I know he's 6'5". I know he's super fast, but he's not a natural wide receiver. There are a lot of parts of his game that he needs to work on, and he didn't show that he could catch. The most balls he caught was 40 balls. I think we're getting too high on him. People are seeing the size, and I get it. Like at the 2-7, you can make a case for it, but I don't know. I think I have him as my wide receiver 11, but I still think there's wide receivers and other positional players that are more valuable at this point. Just my opinion, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
For me, it's not. Yeah, I get it. The size maybe can kind of. He's probably the 2nd biggest guy in this draft outside of Drake London, and he's a guy that there's been a lot of draft hype and hype around him, especially with the Senior Bowl. But I think for me, what was so impressive is his improvement throughout that time.
Right.
From in season to the Senior Bowl. Obviously, the Senior Bowl, you can take it with a grain of salt, but let's see what he does in the NFL draft combine.
Right.
And then we'll see let's see if that really translates to the NFL draft and where he does get drafted, because if he does get drafted in the 4th, 5th round, then it's clear that these teams still don't believe that he's improved or is going to be that guy. So, but if he does go in the early, like let's say third round minimum, then I would be still taking it. I would be taking a chance on him at the 2-7 here for me at least.
He's one of those players that draft capital is going to mean a lot to as well, because the
Mhm.
the GMs of the league could look at Watson completely different to how everyone in the dynasty community views him, you know? So yeah, someone had mentioned draft capital. Hey, Shane, what's up, my guy? Thanks for the sub. I love that, Shane.
Oh, love, brother.
Let's pause just quickly and discuss these picks that have come off the board here. Okay, so Wandale at the 2-8, Rashad at the 2-9, Carson Strong at the 2-10. I love Wandale at the 2-8. If I can get Wandale at the 2-8 in my drafts, I'm smashing that every time.
Careful.
Sorry. Let me get my head straight. No, I really like Wandale at the 2-8, and the combine's going to be big for him as well. Rashad at the 2-9, 6'2", doesn't really run the way you want a running back to, but still at this point in the draft, I think that's good risk
100%.
reward at the 2-9, and then Carson Strong at the 2-10. The only way I'm taking Carson in the 2nd round personally is if he gets, let's say,
that
2nd
spot.
or 3rd round draft capital. And if it's in a position where you can see a path to him being a starter, you know, outside of that, I think Carson's more of a third round, mid-3rd round pick. But I know it's super flex, so people are going to take shots on quarterbacks. You know, could Carson Strong be this year's Davis Mills? If that's Davis Mills at the 2-10, then you're happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
100%. I like Carson Strong a lot, actually. The more we talk about him, the more I am starting to say, you know what, I really hope he lands at a good place. Maybe he sits back for 1 year and then he gets the opportunity. The one team that I really like him going to, I say, is Atlanta Falcons, because he's not that he's kind of like Matt Ryan, but the accuracy, the football IQ is huge, and Matt Ryan is not a mobile quarterback, so you don't really have to change the playbook as much.
Right.
If he were to go to Atlanta, at least in my opinion, but anything can happen when it comes down.
Yeah, Atlanta's a really interesting spot for him, so that's interesting. Christopher Simmons, by the way, just kind of trying to catch up on a couple of the chats if we can. He says, as a Tar Heel fan, I'm telling you, don't fall for Hal. Tremendously inconsistent and questionable decision making at best. That's interesting coming from a Tar Heel fan. And P. Diddy Papa Diffie Puff had a question. I was offered Swift in the 107 for Chase in a 2-quarterback league, and I desperately need a running back. Is it worth it? I don't sell Chase. That's all I'm going to say. No, I'm not selling Chase. I know it's Swift. I know it's the 107, but there's no way I'm selling Jamar Chase. I mean, that is a connection that you don't find very often.
I agree.
No, you should get way more for Chase, so no, I wouldn't do that. All right, let's keep this going, and we're going to try and keep up with the chat as we go. Juxter says 41 likes. Let's go, killing it. Hey, really appreciate that, guys. We have a like goal of 75 likes, and if we hit it, you can vote on what Badaki has to do right now. Right now, the chat is voting that he has to let his wife draft for him in a league. So
she would actually love that. Let's do that anyway.
So hit that like button if you want to see that, and we'll have it on the live stream as well. That would be really fun. Justin Ross at the 211. Yep.
We talked about doing like a small league with just like our wives. Like it would just be you, me, Karina, and Ellen, and we would just have a little team and they can play. That'd be funny. It
would be funny. I feel like we would just dominate. But the way like redraft works, I mean, maybe they just get lucky. All right, Justin 100%. Ross at the 211, and then Sky Moore at the 212. I like Justin Ross's game, but I loved his film before the injury. I'm not sure what he's going to do after the injury, and there's long-term concern there. So we'll see. Sky Moore, though, I feel like this is the biggest steal of the draft so far, in my opinion. You guys are going to disagree with me. That's okay. But Sky Moore at the 212, I love Sky Moore. The more I watch him, the more I think he can be really, really special in the NFL. And people are going to view him as an undersized speedster. That's not all he is. Like he can do everything that a wide receiver needs to do to succeed in the NFL. And I know he's from Western Michigan, but I think that the draft capital is going to be higher than people realize. And I do think he's going to go higher in drafts. So this will be interesting.
Jeff said, can Zaquandre, excuse me, why be the steal of the draft and Zach is in love with him?
I actually didn't want to talk about him because I can typically get him in the 4th round, but now I imagine people will draft him higher.
Look, the value that you can get here in the third round in this draft, this mock draft right here, is crazy. I have still like 6 people on my queue.
Yeah.
That is like, bro, I can't believe these guys are falling this slow, and I think this is what's gonna happen.
Unfortunately, I can't use my queue because everyone's gonna see it. Um,
No, 100%, I get it.
Shane's talking about Algier. Yeah, I know you like Algier. We'll talk about him in a second when he's drafted.
Hmm.
And Chris just said, I won my first time ever playing fantasy. I drafted this guy, Aaron Rodgers, as my backup before anyone knew he was good or not. Pure luck. That's awesome, Chris. Jeff, no need to be sorry at all. Okay, so I'm sitting here at the 110, and I'm so confused why this player is still on the board.
I
I
know exactly
honestly
who it is.
think it's because of Sleeper's current ADP. I think he's going to be drafted in the second round at latest. And for me, Trey McBride, I would
100%.
draft
There you
him
go.
as early as like the mid second. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I
agreed.
think you can justify taking him over a lot of these players that went off the board. It's rare to find a tight end that is this complete. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, he's good at catching the ball, but he also is going to be on the field for such a high percentage of snaps because he improves the offensive line. He helps in pass blocking and run blocking. Well, we wouldn't do
Hmm.
that in pass blocking, but you get where I'm coming from. Like, he's a complete tight end, blocks like George Kittle. In the passing game, similar to Hunter Henry. Now, can he be those players? Who knows? He still needs to prove himself. But to me, if you're looking for a tight end, I would definitely take Trey McBride from the 2-6 onwards. And that's okay if you disagree, but I really like him. I think he's going to go to maybe the Jets or like a team that needs like a good
Yeah,
solidified tight end.
100%. I love Trey McBride, and it goes Jalen Watermeyer back to back, the first two tight ends off the board. I was hoping he was going to fall to me there at the 3-6. He
Jalen
is
Weidemeyer.
the guy is tremendously talented. Jalen Watermeyer, I think he's another guy that can be something. He just doesn't have, in my opinion, the blocking ability
Yeah,
like Trey McBride
not at all.
McBride can have. But he does have. I think he is a little bit faster and a lot, if I'm not mistaken, taller
You know what's
than
interesting
Trey
about that
McBride.
though is like, yeah, so he played wide receiver in high school, Weidemeyer did, but he doesn't really have like he has the attributes to be a wide receiver tight end hybrid, but he doesn't have the speed to really separate himself in my opinion. I
Hmm.
love Weidemeyer. He's my tight end too. I think that's like at the 3-3 it's okay to take a risk there, but I almost wonder if the combine will hurt him like when people see the 40 when they see the
Right,
lack of agility. I wonder if that
right.
might really hurt him. I don't know, but we'll find out here soon. Tolbert at 3-1, interesting pick there. Obviously, really talented guy out of South Alabama. We'll see what his draft capital is. And then John Mechie at the 3-4.
Yeah,
We're
a
so
guy
low on
that
Mechie, but
a guy that we're not necessarily in love with. He's a good role player guy. He's a good, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Uh, it's just not somebody that we
I
are
guess at this
truly,
point of
truly
the
in love with.
draft, though, like maybe
It's
he
okay.
turns into like a number 2 slot, maybe like a Tyler Boyd. I'm not comping him to that, but maybe that's a role that he had, like the Tyler Boyd before the Jamar Chase arrives. And we have to not forget that Mechie caught 96 balls at Bama. I mean, Bama wide receivers succeed in the NFL. I know he doesn't have the same attributes, but he could get higher draft capital than we're all
100%. And I think
realizing.
that's where we're wrong. John Mechie,
Mm,
the guy that can work, and he's been in that, like you said, the Alabama offense. So it's
mm.
gonna be interesting.
Um, Shane says McBride to the Bengals would be gas, and I agree. That was we did a video on him, and that was my favorite spot for him. But I think unfortunately, he's probably gonna go to a team that is not as good. I think he's
I
early
think,
second rounder. We'll see though.
yeah. I feel like a younger team is probably gonna take, like you said, the Jets. The Jets are our prime pick.
Yeah.
And he's from, if I'm not mistaken, no, that's Jeremy Rucker. Never mind. I was like, I think Trey McBride is from
Mm.
New York, but that's Jeremy. Chucks is on the clock here. He's debating between a lot of people, and
Just
I
before,
once again,
yeah, you go ahead. Sorry.
no, I'm saying like I still have a lot of people on my queue, which is absolutely crazy. Anyways, continue.
No, I was just gonna say again a massive thank you to everyone watching. I mean, there's 48 people watching the stream right now. It means a lot that you guys would spend your time with us listening to our takes. If you haven't done so, drop a like. That would mean a lot. We have a like goal of 75 likes. Maybe with your help, we can get there. And if we do hit that like goal, Badaki will have to let his wife draft for him in a league, which would be really, really funny to see. Sub if you like the content. And so we see, is that Zamir or is that Zaquandre?
That's Zamir White.
It's Zamir. Okay, out of Georgia, tore his ACL right before he went to Georgia, and then his other knee said, "I would like to do the same thing."
Then a fat GG's happened.
5-star recruit. So
the same guy. Yeah.
I mean, at the 3-5, it's 5-star recruit that you're getting.
100%. Why not? Talented. Look, I don't know what to do here. If this is actually
You've been saying there's so many people that you want on the board.
Well, if there's 2 people, honestly, I'm gonna
just discuss it. It's fine. I think people would like to hear our conversations.
Look, for me, I'm really tossing up between Tyler Algier or Algier, however you call it, and then Khalil Shakir. I really like both of these guys. These guys are 2 sleepers that I have in the running back and wide receiver position.
Yeah.
Algier is a power running back, in my opinion. I think he is tremendously talented. And then Khalil Shakir is a guy that can come in and be a great slot receiver. You know, a guy that can get production. He is fast. He's explosive. I like both of these guys, but what do I need on my team? You know, I think this is where it comes down.
Hypothetical, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is where it comes down to, like, okay, do I go? What's my running back room look like? You know, what's my wide receiver room look like? And I think you would always want to lean more towards the wide receiver. So I'm going to go Khalil Shakir purely because I do believe the longevity there is going to be better. I could be taking a future risk and chance on that.
I think that's a really good conversation. Like, so you have them in a similar tier. You view them very similarly. And like I said, 10% of my decision-making goes into team needs. 90% goes into what I think of a player, like how I assess them. So I think that's a really good example of deciding, well, you know, maybe this is the 10% of me that says this is where my team need is. So, and then I'm surprised, man. I'm surprised you didn't take James Cook. You're a big James Cook guy.
Yeah, I like James Cook as well.
Algier ahead of Cook recently?
Excuse me.
No, James Cook is still pretty high for you.
James Cook is still pretty high for me. But I'm okay because I think Jerome Ford and James Cook are somewhat, not that they're similar, but their body builds and what they can do are essentially the same. So I think I would, maybe, you know.
Shane says if it's ever a tie, go with running back, and I think that's a good point, Shane. You know, we're talking about all of this without the landing spots and draft capital, so that's going to answer a lot of these questions that we're currently asking. But I think that's a good thought process.
My question for Shane is, why would you go running back if, you know, when I broke it down? So like, okay, I'm thinking about my running back. You know, do I have running back depth? Hypothetically, yes. Do I have good wide receiver depth? Hypothetically, yes. So now do I want to go with longevity? We don't know their team, so I thought of here. That's why I took Khalil. I went with hypothetically, he's going to be in the league for longer and hopefully have a better opportunity rather than Tyler Algier. So that's an interesting question.
Yeah, for sure. Shane just chatted. He said running backs get ran through. Feel like more opportunities for them to jump in value. That's true. You know, I'll just point to a guy that I really loved last year out of Michigan, who was Chris Evans. And I still have him on my team, but at this point, like, who knows what his value is? You know, I feel like he was a 3rd-round pick, and you know, he didn't even get the opportunities. It was Samaje Perine, so it's really hard to know. Like, you also have to think who's going to be more valuable 1 year from now, and I think we're all making some really good points collectively.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's talk about these picks that have gone off the board. Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier, and then Zonovan Knight. I like Brian Robinson pick here. I think, honestly, you know, the like I said, this is another difference between the Dynasty community and the real world people who assess players, you know, mainstream media. And I think Brian Robinson's going to go higher than we realize. Algier, maybe the most volatility. Is that a word? I don't know. He's just ranked in so many different positions for different people.
100%. They have, like, I know PFF has him in like the top 5, and you see other people don't have him in the top 10 at all. You know, and I just have him in the top 10 as a sleeper. So I really like him. It's a weird place for him. It's really going to depend on his landing spot. That would be huge for him.
Then Zonovan Knight at the 312. Not a guy that we love, but I mean, you know, I do understand why you would take him based off of what he did to start his career there.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are at the 311, and Isaiah Likely goes off the
Yep.
board. I still think there are other positions that I would draft over a tight end at this point. But Likely is someone who might be more value than Weidemeyer. I mean, I think they're kind of similar type of tight ends and what they can offer, but Likely might be someone who shoots up boards throughout the offseason. He's a really, really interesting guy. Coastal Carolina had a great pro day. I have no idea where the tight ends will go outside of McBride. Do you know what I mean? No idea.
Yeah, I agree. We have no idea. I mean, what was the tight ends last year that we were so surprised that like I think some of them didn't get like
Brevin. I mean, Brevin was a massive surprise, but
yeah,
now
Brevin. Well, now he's but
you
when
look
he got
at it,
drafted.
there's
He got drafted like fourth, like past the fourth round,
I think so. If I don't
and we had
remember
him pretty
exactly,
high.
but
We had him like early
when was
third,
Pat?
mid
Was Pat a
third.
second or a third? I can't remember off the top of my head, but
I
we were
don't know.
surprised by how low
See.
both of them went. We thought they would have gone slightly higher. But now, I mean, Brevin, yeah, he didn't get the capital we wanted, but I think I saw signs of things that really intrigued me going forward.
Brevin Jordan got picked in the 5th round,
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
147th pick, and I think we projected him
Third.
because of his talent and everything he could do in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
The tight ends are so like up and down. It's weird.
Yeah. All right, Damian Pierce at 312. You like Damian Pierce? Why?
Yeah, I mean he's a bulldozer, the bowling ball type guy that can punch it in. I didn't comp him to a Jordan Howard, but I think what Jordan Howard did for Philly this past year, come in, he's a bigger body guy
That's
that
the kind
can
of
be
role.
Yeah, that's the role that he can be and do in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a good goal line back. He's gonna have one of those weeks where it's like, well, who the hell is like, you know, if you don't know
Who the hell is Mel
draft
Kiper
people,
anyway?
yeah, who the hell is Damian Pierce? Like, why is he getting all the touches over this guy? He's taking all the touchdowns. It's because he can punch it in. So I like Damian in that opportunity, and you know, if somebody gets hurt.
He was so weird to scout because there are plays where Damian Pierce looks as stiff as it gets. Like, there are plays when you watch him like, damn, bro, just show me some agility, some elusiveness. And then
He's so strong, bro.
there's other plays where
strong.
he's running a seam route out of the backfield and he runs for he catches a 70-yard touchdown. I mean, he is such a interesting prospect. I have no idea what his role will be in the NFL. Okay, so I'm on the board now. Ely goes off the board. I like Ely. So
This is your guy here. You have to
yeah,
take your guy.
I think I'm going to take my guy here.
Yeah. No
Just
doubt
looking at
about
the
it.
wide receivers on the board. The thing is, I have a higher tiered wide receiver, but I'm confident that he'll go off the board. Look, at this point in the 4th round, I'll be honest, there is no guarantee that the player I'm about to draft even gets drafted in the NFL. Okay. He might be one of these undrafted free agents. And but I think of Jarrett Patterson, like his draft capital last year. Didn't get drafted, but still made it onto a team and now looks like he could serve a decent role if injuries happen to that team. So that's Tyler Beatty. Really, really love Tyler Beatty. And I always say this stat. I don't want people to think I'm comparing him to Jonathan Taylor, but Tyler Beatty this year had 5 games where he rushed for over 200 yards. And he was the only player on his offense that was even a little bit good. Okay. Last player to do that, rush for 200 yards in 5 different games, was Jonathan Taylor. I'm not saying he's anything like Jonathan Taylor. I'm just saying it's impressive. And he did that in the SEC. We're not talking about the Pac-12. You know, we're not talking about, Division II or something. Like, this is SEC, the best defenses in the country for college football. So I'm quite impressed by him. I'm hoping that he gets drafted in the 6th, 7th round. I like me some Beatty. Love what he can do in the passing game as well.
Yeah, and there goes Kevin Harris right after Tyler Beatty. Another guy that, I actually don't mind that comp of like a Walmart Nick Chubb. He's a bigger body dude that can punch it in, I guess you can say.
I'm more excited about
to
his teammate this year. And I won't say in case anyone's planning on drafting him, but I'm more excited about his teammate. And he did lose his job. Well, he didn't lose his job, but his teammate ended up being the more used. I'm pretty sure that's him. player at the end of the year. That was Zaquandre White,
Right.
and
Yeah,
there he
makes
goes.
sense.
Yep, I love me some Zaquandre. I mean, if you watch his film, not the highlights, watch the whole film, but the lateral quickness is just different, man. It's not natural to have that type of lateral quickness and that ability to make the one cut. I think he can be special. I really think like it was between Beatty or Zaquandre for me there at the 4-4. Chris Romano says McBride to the Jets ? That could be interesting. We definitely thought that might be possible. Max Borgi, aka the Great Value Brand CMC, look him up. Go Cougs. Interesting, I know. Chris Romano says, "Were you guys doing Dynasty mocks last season too?" So we actually have two channels, Chris. We just started this Dynasty channel about a month and a half ago. So this is a relatively new channel. Our other channel, which I can paste in the chat for you guys if you're interested, is where we cover redraft, DFS, maybe some betting. That will start popping off when we get closer to the season. So you might have seen us cover Dynasty on that channel last year, but now we have a channel solely dedicated to Dynasty content.
Make sure you guys go subscribe to that channel, by the way. I mean, everyone that's in here, it will really help us out as well.
Yeah.
Nothing's really happening in redraft right now, obviously, but
yeah, we're just talking
once
about
the
free
season-
agency over there. And
once the
Keontae
season
Ingram
starts to get closer. Yeah,
Keontae Ingram off the board at the 4-5.
Terrible.
I really liked Keontae Ingram. I think he could be a surprise, to be honest. I think he has all the attributes to be like a downhill first and second down running back. So, but again, at this point in the draft, it's really hard to differentiate and separate these running backs between each other, So you're on the board here. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I'm on the board here. I don't have another running back, unfortunately.
I just want to quickly address just before you make that comment. Play for Keeps says someone drafted Z White not long ago in your mock draft. You laughed and now you're acting like you know him. So just to bring some clarity there, we laughed because we thought it was Zamir White twice. We did not know who Zaquandre White was. That was, I think, 3 weeks ago or something. And then we did scout him. There's been multiple players that people have brought up here that we did not know. And we didn't pretend that we knew them at that point. We've been very clear to tell people we don't know who that player is, but we will go scout them. And that's what we did with Zaquandre White. We do know more about him now, feel comfortable talking about him. So I hope that brings some clarity. We weren't laughing at the person for taking that player. We were laughing because we thought there was two Zamir Whites in Sleeper's ADP.
Yeah, we didn't know who the hell that was. So we were like, what? Is there two of them? Alec Pierce.
Okay, I like it.
That's who on my queue. This is another guy that I like. Can catch every single ball out the air, and you cannot, strip it out of his hands. He has really strong hands. I like this guy. Maybe he can be something in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is another example of a player that we don't know too much about, Raheem Blackshear. We'll have to do a little bit of research on him. I don't know a ton about him, so I can't speak on him. Let us know in the chat, guys, if there's something that we should, if we should look him up. Aaron says, I sent Eli Moore and DJ Moore away for Lamb and Bateman. I love it. So that makes me feel better. I'm an Eli Moore believer. Get seedy. Juxta says, learn something every day in fantasy. That's right, man. We never want to pretend that we know everything, guys. That's why if we don't know a player, we're not going to pretend to comment on them. But I hope that brings clarity to that situation. Shane says, Calvin Jackson was on Netflix on Last Chance University. If you're out of options, that's funny. Nathan Ruffalo says, these two are always honest about not knowing a prospect. Yes, sir. Zach.
Appreciate it.
Saxter says, it's true that, Zach. Respectful reply, for sure.
Yeah, all of
no, I mean it's never. I hope we're always as clear as we possibly can be.
Yeah, 100%.
Where we stand.
I don't know how. Sometimes you don't know. You got to look it up.
When it gets to the fourth round, I mean, like, we're only two people. I mean, I think we've scouted over 100 players this offseason.
Yeah, there's so many names right now.
And you can see our rankings and breakdowns of these players over on Patreon. We released it. You can see our rankings on Patreon. You have access to that. I'm showing you on the board now. I don't know why that moves sometimes. You can see how we broke down the players. There's a cover letter to kind of explain why we see players the way that we do. So we definitely do our best to have as much knowledge as we possibly can on the players that will matter. There will be players that we miss. Romeo Daubs at the 4-8.
Yeah, look, another guy that Romeo
Dubs.
Dubs.
Yeah.
He's interesting as well. You know, a guy that can be something. He was there with Carson Strong, in Nevada. So I mean, once again, you take a chance on these guys, these high upside, quote unquote, high upside guys, in the late fourth round, guys. Maybe you can think be something in a year or two.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Dubs is interesting. Was it the offense that he's in? Do you know what I mean? Was it the offense that
Funny.
he's in? They threw the ball at such a high rate. We'll find out. At the fourth round, guys, I mean, we're taking shots on guys that we think have upside at
Tommy,
this
your
point.
boy Briggs Barkley, all up, brother. What's happening?
Tommy,
I love
reply
when
to
you-
my
I love when you come into the chat, man.
Tommy, message me. Let's figure out a trade here. All right, Dabs on the board. Let's see what Zachary Miller is going to do here. By the way,
We auto pick here.
Come on.
it is an auto pick. So Kennedy Brooks out of Oklahoma. By the way, guys, hit 50 likes. Hyauj Love.
Oh man.
50 likes is a lot, so that means a ton. If you haven't dropped a like, it'd be awesome if you could do so. Then Sincere McCormick off the board. Another interesting prospect. Ty Chandler out of North Carolina. Another interesting prospect. You're just taking a shot on your guy at this point, you know. Kennedy Brooks is someone that we should definitely pay a little bit more attention to in probably the combine. And then Hassan Haskins.
Don Haskins. I think this is like the first time we've seen him go off in
Yeah.
drafts, actually.
So I think everyone,
think
by the way,
everyone-
I'll say this. I think everyone did really, really well in this draft. I don't think there was a ton of people that we missed out on. However, why don't we just talk about a couple players that we think maybe deserve to potentially be drafted?
The only one I can think of in the wide receiver room is a Calvin Austin, super fast guy, a Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. And Vallis Jones Jr., 25, quote unquote, 25 years old, the oldest guy in the draft, I feel like.
Yeah.
Very fast, very explosive. Both of those guys are actually very fast, very explosive.
Yeah.
You know, Vallis is probably not going to get drafted in rookie mock draft because of his age.
Right.
So, or rookie draft because of his age. But those are guys, I mean, you know, hey, if they're in the waiver wires, maybe you can pick them up and you have an extra spot or two.
Yeah, the only other names that come to mind for me is Kyle Phillips out of UCLA. I think his game is interesting enough to warrant draft capital. Charleston Rambo. I don't know if you've watched Charleston Rambo, but he's an interesting guy as well.
I haven't. I think you told me about him once, if I'm not mistaken.
And then I guess, you know, I do love the tight end out of Nevada. I'm losing my mind now. Cole Turner.
Cole Turner, yeah.
And he's like his dynasty draft capital will massively depend on real draft capital. I mean, if he gets drafted in the 7th round, this isn't a guy that you're going to draft in a 4-round rookie mock. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, 100%. Dominic Elwood as well. He didn't go out, unfortunately.
yes,
Okay.
Dominic Elwood. If you guys haven't heard of
think he's
Dominic Elwood, massive talent. Go look him up.
Go look him up.
All right, so the draft is over. We'll take a couple minutes to look at any comments that we want to reply to, or well, we want to reply to all of them. I don't know why I'm saying that.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder now. There's so many people in the chat while we're trying to talk about.
But
usually,
I
in
like
mock
that people
draft-
are having conversations with each other.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Elwood isn't on Sleeper LO.
Jeremy, do you know who Dominic Elwood is? This is so just to anyone who doesn't know, if you've been hearing the name Dominic Elwood, someone on Twitter, I don't remember who it is, but someone on Twitter decided to make up a prospect and hype them up throughout the entire offseason. So if you've been hearing about Dominic Elwood, it's because
probably
he's
dead
fictional.
now, but
Yeah, it could be dead at this point.
it's probably dead now, but it's not. At first, I remember like our first or second rookie mock draft, probably like a month and a half ago now.
Yeah. Someone was like, bro, you should check out Dominic Elwood. We were like, wow, really?
Like,
Okay.
oh, wow. Like, okay, who's that guy? And then I looked him up, and I remember like Zach and I, we were like,
We were
sitting
ready
down,
to
like,
scout him.
We were planning out the week, and I was like, bro, I keep hearing this guy Dominic Elwood. I have no idea who he is. Like, maybe we should just look into him. And we looked him up, and he was fake.
Yeah. Well,
that's just so
we
funny.
kept trying to find like any film on him. Anyway, it's a funny story. Aaron says we're at 50 likes. Juxer says petition to change the like goal to 50. Jonathan says Fry Fogel. Shane says, do you guys think there should be any other quarterbacks worth looking at outside of those 6 that were drafted? At this moment, no. I don't think there should be. But
obviously the other name that is
Zappy,
available
maybe.
is Zappy. Yeah, Bailey Zappy. But he's not somebody that I'm willing to take a chance on in using, draft capital, I guess you can
Mm,
say. If he's on the waiver wires, maybe I'll just snag him up to see what happens in that year, put
yeah,
him on my taxi or something. I don't know how many taxi spots or bench
yeah.
spots you guys have in your leagues, but maybe that's something that you can do.
Also depends on his draft capital, right? I mean, if he goes in like the
Yeah.
7th round, it's not really worth looking at. Um, Chris
Mm.
says, "Who had the best draft in your opinion, not including yourselves?" Let's have a look here. Um, that's an interesting question. Who had the best draft? I think you could. This is going to be very opinionated, right?
Yeah,
A
it's
lot
definitely
of people
really.
are going to have different opinions here. There's a lot of picks that I like, but there's not a team that's standing out to me that I'm like
I think
obsessed with
I
all their
think
picks.
for me, I think the strongest, I guess, two first picks, because I think the third and fourth pick can, I don't know. This is how I'm seeing it. I think Fantasy Dominator, I love Malik and David Bell. Two high
Right.
upside guys. David Bell can come in and produce immediately. And if Malik does land in that spot, he has, a wide receiver one and he has a QB1, which is
Mm,
fantastic compared to, like, for example, I mean, not knocking, but like, Kenny Pickett or Wandell Robinson. Like, I would rather have David Bell over Wandell Robinson. But
yeah.
it's hard to say that because of where, KCB drafted at the 1.8.
Mm.
So obviously that value and that talent's not there. But um, I guess that's the thought process for me in my
Yeah,
in my head.
I was gonna point out, I try and look at the end of the drafts, like who got the best value at the end of the draft, and to me, I think Team 12, Cass, just got two guys that I love, and he got them in bad positions. Like he's at the end of each round, but to get Olave, my wide receiver 3, then to get Sky Moore, one of my favorite sleepers, and then Pierce. I'm not high on Pierce, but a lot of people are, so I think that's pretty well done.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think everyone did a pretty good job of drafting here, though. You could point to everyone. I mean, if I look at individual picks, I think Williams is a steal anywhere from the 1-7 onwards. People won't agree with me there because of the ACL, but I think Williams was a
Hmm.
steal anywhere from
Right. Okay.
from that onwards. James Cook at the 3-7 is pretty crazy. Um,
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of these guys are quote unquote good value right now just based
yeah.
off their talent,
Yep.
This is definitely going to change, at the end of this week when we do a rookie mock draft next week after the NFL Combine.
By the way, let's
This
talk about the combine because someone
this could look
commented saying
different.
that it starts tomorrow. I thought it started in a couple days, and we were going to go live for it for you guys to watch with us.
So
When
anyone
does
out
it?
there,
Apparently, it does start on Tuesday.
can you tell us when? See, media, I think is tomorrow. So media
Okay,
starts
I think
tomorrow.
the first actual day for the day that the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. I'm pretty sure that's on Thursday in America. Can anyone confirm that? That the quarterbacks, tight ends day.
So Stephen Day is saying workouts are Thursday. Wednesday is drills. So
Okay.
what's the difference between drills and
Well,
workouts?
the
I
drills are
don't
the
know.
individual drills. Workouts are kind of like what you saw at the pro
Ah,
day.
okay. That makes sense. Right.
So I think we might go live. Let us know, guys. Let us know on the Discord. Just put in the
Mm-hmm.
Dynasty General. Should we
The
go
the
live or should we do a live mock?
the hard part with everyone that's watching, and you probably want us to go live for the combine, is that if we were to go live for the combine, one, there's a delay, and then two, if we were to show the combine, then we get flagged because we're not supposed to be showing that, and we can get a copyright issue, which I think is potentially fine for us because I think we might just take it down after. But at the same time, we want people to go back and watch our thought process
Yeah.
on like what we're seeing and like, oh gosh, like that's gonna be our real reactions. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to kind of justify, well, do we just get copyright, or do we get copyright? You guys can watch it, and whoever
Yeah.
doesn't watch it, just like, sorry, you guys
Yeah.
weren't able to see it, or It's hard.
Jeremy Clark says you guys are from Australia. Badaki sounds like he's from New York. Yeah, so we're both Americans living in Australia, oddly enough.
Yeah.
We both
So,
are marrying. Well, I'm married. Badaki is getting married soon to Australians. Might be back in America at some point. Who knows? But yeah,
yeah.
I think it'd be really fun to like go live for.
Something at least.
I think it'd be maybe on Thursday, your guys' time. We'll go live and watch the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends all working together. That might be fun.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm from New York, so go pick up.
Yeah, so let us know if that's something that we should do. If you haven't dropped a like, please drop a like on your way out. And if you want to hear about some things that we have going on, we're going to plug a couple little things. Feel free to stay around. If people want to play Dynasty with us and our subscribers, how do they do that?
Yeah, patreon.com/fantasylandfam. Zach will put that in the chat right here. If you want to play in a redraft, in a dynasty, or if you want to play in both redraft and dynasty, we have different tiers for that. Once again, go to our patreon.com/fantasylandfam. Select the tier that you want to choose, and that's super simple, super easy. We have a bunch of people here right now. For example, Juxter and Trippy. I don't know if Trippy was in here. Sorry, I know Aaron is also part of one of our leagues. Now we just opened up our second league for 2022. So come through and we'll sign you up. We'll get you all sorted. And it's not just the leagues that you get. You get our rankings. You get our what we call the fantasy hotline, where Zach and I, we give you advice if you have any questions about your fantasy team, your home leagues, or whatever the case may be, trades that you have coming through. So and exclusive content that we will be doing more throughout the season. So
yep.
really
The other
about
thing
that.
I'll tell you guys about is our main channel. Maybe we talked about it earlier, but you didn't want to pop off from the live stream. There's a link to our main channel now in the chat. Give that a follow. If you do redraft, if you're interested in DFS, we'll be covering a lot of that as we get closer to the season. And lastly, if you want to be a part of these mocks in the future, join our Discord. It's a great community over there, honestly. If you want someone to run trades by, if you want someone to, just chat to about whatever it might be, Dynasty, redraft, there's a really good community over there. And I'll say as well, while we don't reply to every question in the Discord, because we try to focus on replying to people who have the fantasy hotline over on Patreon, there is so many people who have conversations in there. It's a great community who's got each other's backs. And I think that's it for today.
Yeah, all love. We have some good content. We have Miles Sanders buy or sell, DK Metcalf buy or sell, Dynasty buy lows, running backs. We're grading our own Dynasty teams.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
The trades are not technically grading, but giving you our thought process of why we did these certain things in our Dynasty league.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
By the way, just on that video, just quickly, I'm really excited for that, and I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. If you guys like that kind of content, that will come out soon. Essentially, the title of that one is going to be, I think, grading our own Dynasty teams or something like that. And someone in our Discord, because there's a section in our Discord where you can suggest content ideas. Someone had asked us, can we have a look at your Dynasty teams and moves that you made? And let us know like how you got there, like what is your direction. So that's the video that we made. And I'm excited to see if you guys like that sort of content. So
yeah,
I think that's it for today.
Yeah, that's it. And then
tomorrow we will do a Dynasty startup mock draft. If you want to join us, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna obviously do a live draft order reveal for the Dynasty leagues soon. Anything else?
Yeah. Suggested content, anything that you would like to have us make, put it in the suggested content tab in our Discord, and we will try to get to it. We'll see if we can, if that kind of like aligns or something cool like that. Obviously, you are seeing us doing everything that you guys, or at least try to do everything that you guys have input. So it's kind of cool.
Aaron says, I love the buy on Lamb video. That's what made him look at buying Lamb. That's awesome, bro. I'm glad to hear that. All right, guys. Huge love. We will see you tomorrow. More content coming live stream. And we'll see you guys then.
Leider Zeus.
Drop a like if you haven't on your way out. That sounds so desperate. All right.